Hello and welcome, influencers. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Behind the Screen Business Confessions with your girl, Anika Cohen. Listen, if you are new to me, I am your business strategist coach. I serve, I support leaders in the marketplace who are struggling with starting, building, and growing their business. I help you to get clarity, confidence, and strategy so you can propel forward with confidence. Come on here. So, welcome. Welcome to our first episode. I am so excited about that. This is our first episode. And I couldn't be more proud to be in a position to share with you my life experience behind the screen. This is what this show is about, to have real, authentic, raw conversations with myself and some amazing guests that I decide to bring on with me who don't mind sharing behind the screen. And we want to have that real, transparent, raw dialogue. So if you are a leader in the marketplace, or if you are an aspiring leader, meaning you want to serve your community, you want to make an impact in their lives, you have a solution to someone's problem, this is the show for you, because this is the show to motivate, support, and influence you to propel forward despite your here and now. Because I know what it looks like and what it feels like to be in a position to serve or to be called and to be chosen. But, and I don't know what the but is for you, but you are in a space to get your motivation, to get inspiration and resources. So if you're unstuck, you're feeling like you're all over the place, or you just don't simply know what to do, Behind the Screen Business Confessions is a great show for you to be a part of. And we're here every week. So listen, if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and be a part of this community. This is a safe space for you. You don't have to fake it till you make it. You don't have to feel like you don't belong or you're not enough. You are enough and you are right where you need to be. Choose to live. Come on here, somebody. Choose to live. This is our declaration. This is our anthem. This is what we live by. Every day that my eyes open and my feet hit the floor, I choose to live. I choose to be liberated, improve daily, be vivacious, and enlightened. So, welcome, influencers, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you and your family. We made it. We made it through another year. So this year, be intentional. This year, be purpose driven. This year, choose to live. Come on. Choose to live. Choose to be liberated. Improve daily. Be vivacious and enlightened. So here's what I can guarantee you. Being a part of our community here, Behind the Screen Business Confessions, here is what I can guarantee from this community, from this tribe. This is what I can guarantee is honesty, transparency, and strategy. Although we're going to have these real conversations, real dialogue about what it looks like behind the screen, what it looks like not on social media, some things may trigger you. They may not make you feel good because I'm not that coach. I'm not just here to tickle your ear. I'm not just here to make you feel good. I'm here to have a real dialogue. And the only way that we can heal, the only way that we can be delivered, the only way that we can be set free is with honesty. So I can guarantee you that I will be honest, I will be transparent, and I will give you strategy based on my experience. I'm going to be raw with you. So this first episode is dear to my heart because it's how I got started. And for some of you, you are waiting for validation. You are waiting for approval. You are waiting for someone to tell you that you can do it. I want you to tell yourself in this new year, I am deserving. I am deserving. I am deserving. I deserve to be here. So this first episode is titled Almost Gone, but Saved by Grace. In 2007, two masked gunmen entered my home and held me at gunpoint with my 3 and my 4-year-old son in the next room. But I was saved by grace. And I want to talk about that because that's how it got started for Anika. That's how my entrepreneurship journey began when I was held at gunpoint. I had a choice in that moment and I decided to say yes if God allowed me to breathe again. So I want you to know that tomorrow is not promised. And I know we hear that over and over and over again. But in this new year, renew your mind and renew your mind daily to know that you are deserving. You are deserving. I didn't know I was deserving in 2007. I didn't know that my life had meaning. I did not know it because of my lifestyle of drug addiction, because of my lifestyle of losing sight of who I was. The addiction took a hold of me. It allowed me to neglect my children. It allowed me to do things that were not with my morals and my upbringing and my beliefs. I lost sight of Anika. But on that night of November 2007, God gave me another chance and I chose to live. So you're here because you choose to live. So let's get started. I want to share with you a quote. Our quote for the week is coming from Ephesians 2:8-9. All right. So, for it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is from the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. So, what is this saying? Ephesians 2:8-9 is your quote for the week. Yes, this is your quote for the week. When you're feeling down, when you're feeling alone, when you're feeling like no one is able to hear you. For it is by grace that you've been saved. Through faith, it's your faith that will keep you. Hold on to your faith because your faith is nothing but hope. When you lose your hope, you lose everything because then there's nothing that says possibility. There's nothing that says possible when you lose your hope. So I was saved by grace. You're saved by grace. And it does not mean that you're going to get this thing right. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for growth and evolving. So we're going to give ourselves grace. We're going to give ourselves grace. And I want you to take on these affirmations for the week. Whatever one resonates with your soul, resonates with your spirit, allows you to get a sense of peace. I want you to take that and proclaim it, confess it, utter it, allow your words to connect with your mind. Your words have meaning and they have power. And when your words connect with your mind, you are giving yourself permission to believe it. You may not believe it suddenly, but after a while, by and by, you will believe it. It will become a part of who you are. It will be a part of your language. Come on here, somebody. So I want you to take in these words because these words have meaning, they have purpose. We can't change the past, but we can create the future. We can't change the past, but we can create the future. I choose to live. I choose to live. I am equipped, prepared, and open to opportunities that attract abundance. Mm. I am equipped, prepared, and open to opportunities that attract abundance. These are your reminders for the week. This is the reminder for you. When you get lonely, when you get in that moment of despair, when you may not feel like pursuing after the vision, this is your reminder. I choose to live. We can't change the past, but we can create the future. You are in control of your narrative. You are in control of your destiny, not your naysayers, not the haters, not the people that don't believe in what it is that you were called to do. Your words have power and your words have meaning. And what you speak to yourself about yourself matters. What you speak to yourself about yourself matters. What are you speaking to yourself, influencer? What are you saying about yourself? I want you to speak in the future. I am worthy. I am deserving. I have a right to be here. I have a right to be heard. What are you speaking to yourself? Because what you speak to yourself, again, your words connect with your mind. So it begins to believe the things that you speak. What is your language to yourself? I want you to begin to change your love language with yourself right now in this new year. Every day is a new year because we're renewing our mind. Every day is a new year because I renew my mind. Because I am deserving. I am worthy. So these are your reminders for the week. I choose to live. I am equipped, prepared, and open to opportunities that attract abundance. Breathe that in. Breathe that in and exhale. That is something that I actually do. So listen, this is a little piece of me. For those of you who are new to me, I am not only a business strategist coach, but I'm a counselor by trade. I went to school to be a substance abuse counselor and mental health counselor. And so I'm licensed as a social worker. So this is the work that I do in the community every day with my clients and with myself, right? So breathe that in. Whatever reminder, whatever affirmation connected with your soul, hold on to that. That's your reminder for the week. We can't change the past, but we can create the future. I choose to live. I choose to be liberated, improve daily, be vivacious and enlightened. So comment below the reminder, the affirmation for this week that's going to resonate with you, that you're going to hold on to, right? All right, influencer. So every week, there's going to be a question here, right? Because life is about questions. That's why you're here, right? Life is about questions. And if you don't get comfortable asking questions, you stunt your growth. I learned that a long time ago. I used to allow my ego and my pride to hinder me from growth and opportunities until I learned that it's in the questions I get my solution. It's in the question that I get my breakthrough. It's in the question that I get my deliverance, right? It's in the questions. It's in what you don't ask. So the question for this week is, how do you produce change in your life when you haven't forgiven yourself? How do you produce change in your life when you haven't forgiven yourself? Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Anika Speaks, because this is where it gets real, raw, and transparent, right? How do you produce change in your life when you haven't forgiven yourself? Here's my response based on my experience in life, based on the things that I have experienced. How do you produce change in your life when you haven't forgiven yourself? You don't. You don't produce change in your life when you do not forgive yourself. How can you operate from a space of forgiveness when you haven't forgiven yourself? That takes humility, that takes discipline, that takes vulnerability. And if you haven't even tapped into those elements, how can you produce change? Because change is ongoing. Change is ongoing. And I'm here to tell you that forgiving yourself is ongoing. Every day you got to forgive yourself. It starts with your confession. Confess your faults. I had to confess my faults. I had to openly, I remember like it was yesterday, looking myself in the mirror. I was living with my mother-in-law at the time, and we are homeless. We just lost our place, my husband at that time, and we have 4 children. Not to mention, in that moment, when I was looking myself in the mirror, I was hopeless. I was desolate. I felt like there was nothing else that I could give. And all I remember is looking myself in the mirror and saying, I'm enough. As tears rolled down my face, I had to tell myself I'm enough. And as I began to tell myself that I was enough, I began to confess the things that I did not like about myself. I began to confess the things that I did not like about myself. In your confession is your breakthrough. So I had to confess that I was a neglectful mother. I was a woman who neglected her children. I was a woman who was in and out of domestic violence relationships. I was a woman who settled in relationships. I had to begin to speak those things openly and honestly about the things that I'd done that I was not proud of. I had to give it sound. I had to give it a name. You know how we do this thing? We pity pat around the truth. But Ayanna Van Sant, she said it the best. Call a thing a thing. Call it what it is. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't tiptoe around it. Be honest about your truth, because in your truth is your breakthrough. In your truth is your breakthrough. It is your deliverance. No one can now dangle my past over my head, because I've made peace with my past. Come on here, somebody. Somebody on today's podcast, you got to make peace with your past. It's time for you to make peace with your past. And the only way that you can begin to make peace with your past is to call the thing a thing. Call out the things that you're not proud of. I was. Because when you confess those things and you say, I was a neglectful woman. I was a neglectful mother, right? I did things that I was not proud of. I was a liar. I was a manipulator. I used my body to get the things that I wanted from men. I had to be in a vulnerable position to literally speak those things out. And I didn't care who heard me outside the door. because it wasn't about them. I needed a breakthrough. I needed my healing. I needed my deliverance. See, what you don't know is after a year of marriage, my husband sat me down on a couch and asked me for a divorce after our first year anniversary. And he was asking for a divorce because of the woman that he married who was not healed, who was not delivered, who did not yet have a breakthrough. So he married a troubled woman. I was troubled because I wasn't healed. And all of my baggage, all of my mess, I brought into that marriage. And I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong, but I take full accountability for Anika's role. And that's where forgiveness began to produce change in my life. I made peace with my past, and I began to give sound and give name to the things that I was not proud of. I had to openly confess it. I had to openly speak it and sit in that emotion of maybe embarrassment. I was embarrassed. I had to sit in those emotions of anger, resentment, bitterness, right? I had to be willing to sit in the mess. So I'm going to break down my response because that was just me, Anika, speaking. That's the raw, real, transparent conversation that I want to have. Because when I got started in business, I had no idea what I was doing. All I knew was that I was called and that I was chosen. And a little old Nika from the hood, a little old Nika from Manchester Square. I'm from Dover, Delaware, y'all. Little old Delaware, right? But this woman had settled in life. I settled a long time ago. And it wasn't until I found my voice that I began to walk in freedom. So that moment in the bathroom at my mother-in-law's house, as tears streamed down my face, I confessed. I confessed. And I found peace. I found a breakthrough. I found deliverance. That's what I found. And it started my journey. It started my journey of choosing to live because it takes honesty. It takes transparency. It takes that vulnerability. So the question that I have for you, are you willing to go there? Are you willing to go to the mess? Are you willing to address the mess? Are you willing to call it out? That's your growth, my sister. That's your growth, king. That's your growth right there. When you can confess and make peace with your past, you're going to start to produce change. You're going to begin to produce change in your life and be in control of the narrative. Not your past, not the naysayers, not the haters, but you. You will be fully in control because now you have gained control. You gained control the minute that you accepted your truth. So let me give you these 3 points. All right, influencers? Let me give you these 3 points. How do you produce change in your life when you haven't forgiven yourself? Acknowledge. 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 That's the first tip. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge the emotion, acknowledge the situation, acknowledge the person. You have to do that. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. And accept it. Point number 2. Accept it. Accept that this is the person that you are today. Because that person was broken. Anika was broken. She was broken. She was lonely, feeling like she wasn't good enough, feeling like I'm a failure. I just got married. I just had this beautiful wedding. And now you mean to tell me I got to tell people that I'm facing a divorce? That's real talk. What are they going to say about me? I'm all this evangelist. I'm preaching. What are they going to say? Right? So you have to accept. I had to accept it. I had to accept. I acknowledged it, right? Acknowledge it is the first point. Acknowledge it. That's just you being conscious that it's present, that there's something going on. Because most times what we do is we avoid or we put it to the side. But that's not what we're going to do anymore. We're going to acknowledge it. We're going to give it sound. We're going to give it a name. And we're going to acknowledge it. And then we're going to accept it. Accept that it exists. Because in your acceptance is, again, the breakthrough. So now that I've accepted that this is a part of me, this is where I'm at, this is what's going on with me, own it. Tip number 3, own it. Again, own who you are, where you are, so you can get to the promise. So you can get to the promise because God promised you something. He promised you an abundant life. He promised you something. Go after it. Because he says he's a God that he cannot lie, nor the son of man that he shall repent. Give him back his word. So if you said this, God, then I have no choice to believe you and I'm going to pursue after it. That's our responsibility, to believe and seek. Glory to God. Believe and seek. Seek after it. Go after it. Pursue after it by any means necessary. Because this purpose, this vision is bigger and greater than you. And I know that to be true. So my tips for you on this week, influencer, almost gone, but saved by grace. I was saved by grace November 2007 when those 2 masked gunmen entered my home to kill me and to leave my children motherless, but God. And because he spared my life, as I laid there on that floor, hands bound, feet bound, mouth gagged with the barrel to my head, I began to chant, I choose to live, I choose to live, I choose to live. And if God be God, save me. I choose to live because I didn't know what it looked like or what it felt like to do anything different outside of my lifestyle back then. And so that prayer, that declaration, it literally saved my life. That's why I'm here today. That's why I'm here today. And so I made a vow to my God that I would carry out the assignment. I didn't know what the assignment was, but if you allow me to live another day and not allow my sons to see a lifeless body, I'll do something different. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it looks like, but I am willing to give it a try. And ever since that day, my life has never been the same. Yes, I was a woman separated after her first year anniversary. I'm back on this trail of being a single mother, now with 4 children. I didn't know. I didn't know. I had no idea. But God did. And so, yes, I was almost gone, but I was saved by grace. And for some of you, you was almost gone too. You may not have the exact story. You may not be able to relate to being a drug dealer or a drug addict. You may not be able to relate to that lifestyle of being a neglectful mother to your children. You may not be able to relate to that, but there's so much more to me. I'm sure you'll be able to relate to something. But you was almost gone. So what almost broke you? What almost broke you? But you're still here. That means because you have purpose. That means because you have meaning. You have meaning. So acknowledge, accept, and own who you are, where you are, so you can embrace what's to come because greatness is coming. Type I choose to live, listeners. If you receive that, I choose to live. So listen, influencers. Thank you so much for tuning in with your girl, Anika Cohen. I am so excited that you decided to join me and be a part of the community here. All right, choose to live. So, this is season number 1. This is our first episode. So I'm super excited because we have some great things in store for our community and join the conversation. So first and foremost, let me know what you thought of today's episode. Let me know your thoughts. Comment below. I want to hear from you. Listen, if you're on our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe so you can be notified every week of our show. But listen, if you have questions, we got answers, right? If I don't have the answer, I'm sure someone does, right? So send us your questions so we can enter your questions into the show so it can be about you and what it is that you need and how we can support you on your journey in the marketplace. All right, influencers. So listen, this is how we end our show every week. We choose to live. We choose to be liberated, improve daily, be vivacious, and enlightened. Until next time, influencers, choose to live.